good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yesterday, let's make sure we knew where we were talking about. We had to find missing angles, so we used tangent to find the missing angles. Then we put on our reaction forces. We knew there was a triangle here, so we put 2 on. I'm talking loud. And then we need to know this one. It was roller, so we put on 1. We didn't know this was 0. We didn't know this was 350. We didn't know this was 150 until we did our moment calculations and some of our forces calculations. Moment calculations. We picked pivot point A because A had 2 unknown reactions. So A automatically became 0 because A is 0 feet away from A. And then B became 0 because there was no outside force on B. And then C had a distance of 10 and an up and down force of RAY from A. And then D had a distance of 3 from A and a down force of 500. It was not negative because it was down. Why was it negative?
Because it went left.
No, it's not left. Why was this moment at D negative? Not because it went down. Remember, we're in moments. Because down made it go clockwise, so that's why that was negative. Kind of combine your like terms, solve, and we were able to get that RCY was 150. It was positive. Because it was positive, that didn't necessarily meant to point up. Positive means that it was counterclockwise. So we go here, we want to make it move counterclockwise, which means it would have to move up. That's why we put the up arrowhead on it. So we labeled 150 and up. Any questions? Then we did our outside x's. The only outside x was this one, RAX. So RAX naturally just became the 0. No arrowhead for zeros. At least I don't put any on. Okay, then we did the y's. So for the y's, we had this one, 1, 2, and 3 outside lines. We did not know RAY, so we just called it RAY. We knew 500 pointed down, so we did negative 500. And we found out that 150 pointed up, so we did plus 150. Add them all together, solve for RAY, 350 over here. Positive did not mean counterclockwise anymore. Positive means up in this area, either up or right. So we made a point up. And then did you remember we also talked about how this 500 was balanced? Because this was 350 and this was 150 and 350 and 150 makes 500. Then we had, so we got all, that was, you've done that much. That was that homework you guys are working on. That's what that was in your homework. You had to do this stuff in your homework. Now we had to solve for the inside members. So we talked about, or I just told you we're going to do A first, since we're ahead of my stool. All right, so we broke our diagonal apart, and then we solved for blues and stuff, and we ended up getting like the ABY was negative 350. What are, now I'm going to get my stool back. What are the horizontals? How many horizontals are there? How many horizontals do you guys see on point A? 1, more than 1. 2, more than 2. 3. They are here, 0, here, AB, and here, ABX. So we're going to put those all under there. So we're going to do, there was a 0, and there was AE. Please don't confuse that with DA. That's a big difference. AB, because we're at A, and ABX. So there was 3. Now maybe like some of you said there was 2. You're kind of right because 0 is useless, right? And 0 is not going to affect us. Problem, we have no idea what AD or ABX is. No idea. So what we have to do is we need to focus in, we got to kind of hone in on this triangle right here. So I'm going to write on this triangle right here, I'm going to draw it here. I'm going to kind of draw it on the side. So this was ABY, this is ABX, and this is AB. All 3 of those, well actually, at the beginning, we didn't know any 3 of those. But, which one of these did we solve for? Did we solve for AB? Did we solve for ABY, and it's on this page, or did we solve for ABX? We solved for ABY. What is ABY? So what we're going to do is we're just going to write 350 here, okay? It's 350. We solved for that over here Don't worry about the negative. The negative just told us how it points. So just put 350 on there. Well, on the front page, over here, we solved for the angle as well. See this angle? We knew that angle was 5313. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to put 5313 right here. Because we solved for that on the previous page. Now, I would like to find ABX. So we are going to use, this is a right triangle, we're going to do tangent of 53.13. Does everybody know where I'm getting 53.13? It's the angle. Equals, do you remember what is tangent? Is it opposite? What like opposite adjacent hypotenuse? Which one is it?
Isn't it opposite over hypotenuse?
It is opposite over adjacent.
Oh.
So what we do is the opposite is 350. So we're doing opposite over adjacent. Over, what's the adjacent to 53.13?
ABX.
ABX. Good. Now you two should be fine. You did this all the time in trig. You two, we did this in Algebra 1. Okay? I don't know if you remember or not. If you had me in Algebra 1, here's how we did it. I'm not exactly 100% sure how Mr. McGrady did it. But you see how this time the letters are on the bottom and not on the top? We have to switch those two. So we get ABX equals 350 over tan of 53.13. We did that in Algebra 1.
Oh, I
We only
remember
did it for
that.
like 2 days. So 2 days out of 90 isn't a lot. Okay, type that into your calculator. 4 significant digits. Tell me what ABX is. I didn't lose it. Oh, there it is. 4 significant digits. Tell me what ABX is.
262.5.
262.5. I think, is this in pounds or are these in newtons? How did we already say this thing pointed? We already said that this thing points to the left. And that was because we found out ABY pointed down, and to follow the diagonal, you have to go down and left. So we have ABX now. Do you guys see that ABX? We can write, right here we can do 262.5, because we know that. We already have the arrowhead pointing left. So you guys see this ABX? Right here, the one I'm pointing at? That's going to turn into what? So I'm going to ignore 0. I'm going to write AD plus, or actually not even plus. Why am I going to write minus?
Because it points left.
Very good. And it's 262.5. And now I can get AD. So AD is positive 262.5. What does it mean to be positive 262.5 in the x direction? To the right. Very good. So see at AD, it goes to the right, 262.5. What is the only thing we have not solved for so far? Up there. And I know it seems weird, it's actually the most important thing. Does anybody know what we have not solved for? A, is that a D? We already have AD. AD is 262.5. He's close though. We haven't solved for BD. Nope, because B doesn't touch D. At least in this problem. 0. A. A. They were trying to use sign language. AB yet. We haven't solved for the hypotenuse. We don't know how big AB is. Well, I hope you guys agree it's just a right triangle. So all I need to do is 350 squared, because I'm doing a squared, b squared, c squared. And what was the other part of the right triangle? 350 is this up and down leg. What's this leg? How big is this one?
262.5.
Squared. Put that in, and now we'll have AB. Go ahead. 437. So we go up here. 437.5. Oh, how does it point? How does our diagonal point? Does not point to the right. How does our diagonal point? Follow the black arrows. Down and left. Very good. Down and to the left. It has to follow these black arrows right there. Down and to the left. All right, guys. We solved for A. The good news is we solved for one of the hardest ones. Now I just have to teach you how to put your answers down here and down here, okay? I hope you agree that this is A and that up here is B. And right here is B. We were able to figure out that this little chunk right here, that was our hypotenuse. Didn't it point at A? Didn't it go down? Didn't it go down and left? Make it point at A. What about this little chunk right here? Did it point at B or did it point at A? I think it pointed at D. It was this right here. It points at D. So AD, that little itty bitty chunk, that zoomed in version right here, pointed this way, at D. At D. Not only that, we were able to figure out that this little missing part was AD, was 262.5 pounds. We're going to keep these in for significance, okay? And is everybody, any questions so far? Any of the arrowheads or the numbers? We were able to figure out that AB was, what was AB? 437.5? Is that right? 437. Okay, there's a couple more things you learned. Remember when I was pulling and pushing on Ashley's hands? If this one is pointing at A, like this middle chunk, this is Ashley right here. Here's Ashley in the middle, and this is Miss Celine Jelly on the sides of her. If I'm pulling out from Ashley over here, guess what? I would be pulling out on Ashley over here too. These always have to be in opposite. So if this one's pulling out, this one's also pulling out. So it has to be like this. What do you guys think that means about this little chunk right here? Is it pointing in or is it pointing out? In, because it has to match. Has to match. Okay, there's more. Remember, you're saying what it's feeling. If I'm pulling out, I am creating tension, right? If I'm pulling out, I'm creating tension. Ashley, I'm going to pull out. You keep. What is Ashley doing? She is doing what, though? I'm creating tension. She is creating compression. Thank you. So we put a C here for what the member is, what the member reaction is. The member, if this is ready, I'm going to try to give you a visual. If this is pulling out, the member doesn't want, the member like, no, I want to stay together. So the member is compressing in together to try to stay together. Okay, what about this one? If you are pushing in, what's the reaction? Pushing out, and what's that called? Tension or compression? Tension. Put a T there. All right. Woo, a lot of thinking going on. An overwhelming amount of thinking going on. Okay, now we have to go and pick a different letter. I would not suggest to go with B. I would, does anybody have a guess as to what I would suggest to go with next? Do you think I would go with C or D? Who wants to take a guess? D? I would go with D. Yes, I would. Because now that I have this 265 here, or 262.5, I have only 4 things going on, and I know 2 of them. I know this one over here, and I know this one over here. So I have 4 things. I have left, up, right, and down, and I know the right, and I know the down. So that's really helpful. Yes, we're going to go to D next. So here we're just kind of like, good news, since there's no diagonals, there will be no sine, no cosine, and no tangent. So we're going to draw little axes just for the letter D. We're going to put letter D in the middle, so we know that's letter D. Letter D travels over here to what letter?
C.
Over here, A.
Oh, A.
But over here, C. What about up here? Does it travel to anything up there? B. Now, something in the past that has confused people, people think that this is the entire DB line. It is not. That DB line that I drew is just this much. Okay, I'm not going all the way up, I'm just saying I'm going from D up towards B. I know this one. How big is this one? I knew it pointed down, and how big was it? 500. Hey, if there wasn't a force there, you wouldn't put anything there. Okay, but since there was a force, I had to put 500. I'm going to highlight that in yellow, since it's a down force. I'm going to highlight it in yellow. I'm going to highlight this in yellow, and I'll highlight these 2 in blue, because this is my horizontals. How big is this one right here? How big? Just the number.
262.
262.5. Good. Okay, but here's a big question. Down here, give me 1 second. Down here, does everybody see this letter D? I need 262.5 to point to the left. Now I know over here it's pointing to the right. Don't let that get confusing. You always reference this when you're going to have it point to the left. How can I help you?
I have the ballots.
Thank you. Can you just put them right over? That's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. We have everything we need now. So we move over here and we do our sum of the forces in the x direction. Those are the blue ones. And we do our sum of the forces in the y direction. Those are the yellow ones. They have to be 0, otherwise this particular truss will fall down. If I really wanted, I could start with all letters. Like for example, oh, P.S. When you're at letter D, never, ever, ever write this as A-D. This is not A-D. This is D-A. You always start with the point there you're at. So I hope you guys agree that my blue lines are D-A and D-C. I hope you agree that my blue lines are D-A and D-C. I also hope you agree that D-A is what? What is DA? Number. Negative, because it's one left, 262.5. So I'm going to replace this with negative 262.5. Plus, I don't know DC. But now I can add 262.5 to the other side. Knowing they have to be at a perfect balance, I can now say DC is positive 262.5. So now I can take that, and I'm going to draw it on here. It's positive, so it's going to go to the right. And I put my number on, 262.5. Now you guys could probably figure out what dB is right now. Who knows what dB is right now? What is dB? 500. That's right. So this dB has to balance this guy. We're going to work it out, okay? way, if you want to see it worked out, it's DB is a yellow, minus 500 because the point's down. Those are my two yellows. Add 500. DB is positive 500. And because it's positive, it points. Anybody?
Up.
Wasn't that one so much easier than A? You might be like, why didn't we start with that one? Because that's right, we didn't have that 262.5. Without doing point A, we would never have gotten 262.5. We probably could have figured out DB from the get-go. We knew, probably at the very beginning of the problem, DB was positive 500. That thing's all filled out, so
Please dismiss the high school cross-country team, both boys and girls at this time. Thank you.
go here. Let's put our number in, 500. Now remember, right where my finger is, am I going to draw an up arrow or a down arrow? This one's down. Wasn't, and on here, remember, going up, it was going up to, yep. Okay, I have a question. Right here where my finger is. A down or an up arrow? Down arrow, right? Because I need it to be an opposite of the one. That's for point B. Wow, point B is coming together. And right here where my finger is, what's the number? Look at your chart you made up there.
262.
And right here where my finger is, how did it point? Did it point to the right or to the left? Pointed to the right. Okay? Right where my finger is, how does this one point? Trevor, you have it. How does this one point? Good. To the left. Wow, guys, you're doing great. Look, you only have one more empty space to fill in. Do you think we could do B and we can do C? We can do both of them. Which one looks easier? C. I hope you think C looks easier. How many diagonals does B have? 2 diagonals.
2.
It has 3 things, but like it has 2 diagonals. Avoid that at all costs. Otherwise, you're going to be messing around with 2 triangles and 2 tangents and 2 C only has 1 diagonal, which is a very good thing. Let's move to C. I promise, once we do C, we'll get this filled in right here, right? So I won't need to do B at all. So let's do C. Let's avoid B entirely. So here's all of that was for D. Here's my dot for C. Okay. Very carefully draw this one. C points to the what at D? C points to the what to D? That's right.
Left.
C points left to D. So I can do this. D's over here. And it was 262.5. Does C have anything pointing to the right? Does C have anything pointing to the right? I'll scroll down so you can look. Is there anything over here?
No.
Nope, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm not even going to bother to have this. Does C have anything going up, like on the bottom of it? Ooh, look at this. It has an up of 150. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to draw an up arrow of 150. Does C have anything going straight up and down yet?
No.
C has nothing going straight up from it, does it? So I am going to actually, maybe I'll erase that. But what else does C have? It has a diagonal going up to B. And we don't know how big that diagonal is. Okay, but what do we know? Every diagonal needs to become a what and a what? We need this diagonal to become a vertical and a horizontal. Every diagonal must become a vertical and horizontal. What is the name of this right here, this vertical line? What is its name? What is his name?
John.
No, it's not John. Good try. CBY, because it's the up and down. So it's from C to B in the vertical direction. CBY. What is this guy's name? What's his name? CBX. From C to B in the horizontal direction. CBX. Good job. Anytime you have to draw like a random triangle like that, I really want you guys to come. Oh wait, let's do our some of the forces thing. Hold on, sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Some of the forces in the X, some of the forces in the Y. Let me get my highlighter. Might be a good idea for you to get a highlighter. How many blue highlights? How many horizontal lines do you guys see? Good, Trevor. 2 is correct. I see this horizontal line that I know, and this horizontal line that I don't know. Good news. How many horizontal lines? How many of them do I already know? I don't even need, right now, I don't even need to use sine, cosine, and tangent. That's good. I can just solve for that guy. How many vertical lines? 2. 1 here, 1 here. Oh my gosh. Are they both unknown, or do I know one of them? That's awesome, because I'm not going to have to do that whole sine, cosine, tangent thing at all. Because thank goodness I only have 2 unknowns of each, and I know one of them. Okay, so when I get the pen back, tell me what X directions we have. What is one of the blue things I highlighted? And because it points left?
It's negative.
Negative 262.5. What's the other thing I highlighted? CBX. Good. Add the 262.5 to the other side. And what do we get? Positive, yeah. So CBX is positive. What does it mean to be positive in this area? Going right. Good. Okay, watch. You guys ready for this? This is huge. Ready? If this points to the right, how will this one point? Up or down? It will point down. Now maybe you guys are like, what the heck are you talking about, Miss Linda? If I'm going right on my diagonal, if I go right on my diagonal, I'm also going down. So Brianne said down, she's spot on. Good. Oh, P.S. If this is down and right, then guess what? This one is down and right. They'll have to, they have to get along. It's not like your vertical and horizontal can go up and left and the other one go down and right. That's impossible. They have to go the same. Okay, so your Y's. What? I was trying to stick my hand in my pocket, but it's inside out. What are the Y's that I highlighted? 150, positive or negative 150? Positive, because it points up. Positive 150, because it pointed up. That's this one. And what about CBY? We don't know it, right? So plus CBY. Subtract 150 from both sides. Negative 150. Yes, Trevor. It is when you, well, we have to pretend, we're pretending we don't know right now that that's a down arrowhead. We almost worked ahead. We verify that it's a down arrowhead because whenever you don't know something, you write it, when you don't know something, you write it as a plus, and then your math will prove to you that it should be a down. when you don't know something, write it as a plus. You know, in my head, I was wondering, so I should go over that, so I'll do that next. Why is it negative? What do we already confirm? This is just confirming that it should point down. That just confirms we did the right thing. So this is 150. This is 262.5. What's the only thing we haven't solved for? We struggled with this on A too. What's the only thing we haven't solved for? Yeah, well, CB. I know it seems weird that I'm being so picky, but I am. We haven't solved for CB yet, the diagonal. That's okay, guys, because it's a right triangle. To find CB, all you have to do is 262.5 squared plus 150 squared. Take the square root of your answer all in one step. It's easier if you do it all in one step, then you're more accurate. How big is CB?
.302.3.
That's perfect. So now all we have to do, that tiny missing thing right here, that's all we had to find, right? We finally found it. It's 302.3 pounds. Was it pointing at C or was it pointing away from C? It was pointing at C. Remember, this is what we were focusing on. We weren't up here. We weren't at this portion up here. We were all down here. So if this is pointing at C, how's this one up here going to point?
At B.
At B. Okay, if I am trying to pull something apart, what's the reaction? Compression. That is how you do a dress. That's your answer. That wasn't so bad. It didn't. No, I didn't know how much, and I figured I'd write big, so. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hopefully Daniel didn't stop on the video yet. So I didn't do the 500. If I'm pushing in, what is it doing? It's pushing out, which is what? Tension. Thank you. Totally missed that. Okay, now we're good. So on this truss, what? There's another, this one. Oh my gosh, listen to get your act together. Seriously, it's embarrassing. Okay, if I'm pushing this way, if I'm pushing in, it's pushing out, which is what? Okay, did I miss any more? Because now I am going to officially say we're done. We good? We're good. Okay, that's how you do a truss. So I'm thinking it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points. That truss would be. You do the whole thing, you get an answer at the end, you can get half credit, but like, I'm going to be looking, if you have arrowheads pointing out, I better see a C and stuff like that. And the moment, those are what's going to screw some people up most. There it is! Woo! Okay, Caleb, is this still recording? Yes, okay. How do we stop it? I can't even remember. There's stop buttons. Nice. Oh my gosh, guys, I took 34 minutes. Because I used it on the board.
I started it.
You got it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We have got to, if you haven't already, we've got to figure out this angle. And I'd like to figure out this angle. Okay? If possible. And then if we need to figure out the other angles, we will. So let's over here on the side do tangent. And I need you to pretend we're going to drop this down. Okay? We're going to make a right triangle for our tangent. Are you ready? Tangent is, oh crap, I'm saying really. Oh, we're going to do that -1 thing. Okay. What is opposite of this arc I just drew? How tall is this?
3.
3. Opposite over. How big is just this portion? portion right here, just this.
3.
3. Type that in your calculator. I think you're gonna get, you should get 45. I should have known that since when I saw some, but it is 45. You gonna get 45?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm gonna get rid of this because I don't want this line. I don't like it. Okay. Now over here, good news. Good news. If I dropped this down, if I did tan of this, wouldn't it be 3 over 3 again?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be what over there?
45.
That's awesome. Ah, no, no, no. Okay. I had a moment, but we're good now. All right. I'm praying we can do it without it, but there's a chance we're gonna have to find these angles up here, and probably here too. There's a good chance that will happen. Okay? Should we do it now, or should we just do it if we come across it? So here's one. Do it now, or do it if we come across it?
If we come across it.
Pardon the interruption. I need grades 6th and 8th to head to the auditorium at this time. Grades 6th and 8th to the auditorium at this time.
Oh, that assembly. All right. It's about digital literacy and like keeping yourself safe online. All right, my dears. We need some reactions. This is a ruler. How will its reaction be? Up and down. Will it also be left and right?
No.
Nope. Okay, I want you to write it as reaction of C in the Y direction. Reaction of C in the Y direction. Here's your pin. Will it have both up and down and left and right, or just up and down? Pins. Both. So this will be my reaction of A in the Y of Amy. Don't worry, I know my X's and my Y's. I'm smarter than that. This is the reaction of A in the X direction, because it's horizontal. Reaction of A in the Y direction. After we label all that stuff, do you guys remember what we do next? Find the, starts with what letter? Moments. Find the moments. All right, guys. Find moments. Guess what? We need a pivot point. You should be able to tell what pivot point we're going to use. A. Why are we using pivot point A? It has 2 things on it. Pivot point A. Good job. That way we'll zero it out. So we have A, B, C. How many do we have? We only have A, B, C, D, and E. So we're going to space this out. Moment at A plus moment at B plus moment at C plus moment at D plus moment at E equals 0. Remember, these are each their own individual distances plus each their own individual forces. Which one of these automatically zeroes out? A, because we're taking it at A, so distance-wise, A is 0. Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Does B have a force acting on it? The letter B, does it have a force acting on it?
Yeah.
Correct. It does not zero out. What about C? Does C have a force acting on it? It does. RCY. RCY counts. Does D have a force acting on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's 1,000. Does E have a force acting on it? Yes, it does.
They all have forces acting
So
upon.
they don't zero out. No others zero out. Okay, letter B. What is the force at letter B? What is the force?
250.
250. So if I know it's a distance time of force, I know the force of 250. The force was vertical, so what's the horizontal distance from A? Listen up. How far away horizontally is B from A? Go ahead and answer that if you know.
5.
That is correct. Now I need a big thing here from you guys. Put your pencil
Pardon the interruption.
on A.
Grade 8, head to the auditorium at this time. Grade 8 to the auditorium.
Oh, is this zoomed in at all, Caleb, for him? Okay, I'm gonna zoom in. Tell me when it's good. Tell me when the whole thing's in.
Oh no, go back, go back. No, keep her going. Keep her chugging.
Is that good for him?
A little bit to the left. Yeah, too far, too far.
Sorry. How's that?
No, I gotta go back to the right. A little bit right there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys, put your pencil on A. Like literally, put your tip of your pencil on A, and move your paper the way that B would indicate you move it. So move it down. How is your whole truss spinning? How is that spinning?
Counter. Is that counter?
Is that counterclockwise or clockwise?
Yeah.
Clockwise. So this is negative because it spins it clockwise. That was fun. Okay, now go to letter C. Go to letter C. What is the force at letter C? We don't know, so RCY. So I have to do plus RCY times, what is the distance? What is the horizontal distance from A? From C to A would be 10. We will not do, is it plus or minus? Because we don't know. So we don't have an arrowhead yet. All right, now go to the moment at D. What is the force on letter D?
1,000.
1,000. We're not going to say negative yet. We might say negative, but we need to go ahead and, that's an up and down force. What's the left and right distance? From A, be careful with this. Look at A and D. How far horizontally are they spaced out? 3. Okay, now put your pencil on A. Spin your paper the way that D would have you spin it. How does your paper spin? Clockwise. So put this as negative. I'm going to write clockwise above these. Maybe that will give you some help. Now go to E. What is the force at E? 500. That's an up and down force. So give me, what's the left and right distance to A? So look at E, go to A. How far horizontally are they spaced out?
7.
7. Good. Put your pencil on A, like your pencil tip on A. Spin your paper the way that E would have you spin it. How is it spinning? Clockwise. So I'm going to make this negative. By the way, if you would have picked reference point C, all of those would have been positive because they would have spun them counterclockwise. But picking C as a reference point is a terrible idea because it has only one unknown. Yes, Caleb?
Can you explain the clockwise thing?
I
Like
sure can.
putting it on the point and turning
Yeah.
it?
So, like if you put your pen right here on your paper at A,
Uh-huh.
and you pull your paper, see how the arrowhead says pull down?
Yeah.
If you keep this here, if you pull this down, but you keep this pinned right there, it doesn't spin like, it would spin like this.
Oh, okay.
Good. Good job, guys. Your moments. What are they going to be able to solve for? That's right. So 0, who cares? This is negative something. What is that? Negative. Good. Plus 10 RCY minus 3,000 minus 3,500. All of those negatives. Here's where your Algebra 1 skills come into play. All of those negatives. Negatives. I did not just say negatives, but I did. All of those negatives make negative 7,750. You guys okay at this point? Add 7,750 to both sides and divide by 10. So you get 10 RCY. If your Algebra 1 self could see you right now, if you would go back in time and like bring your Algebra 1 self here, right at this moment, you'd be like, whoa, look how smart I am. That's a force, so it's a pound. Now let's be very careful with this. Very, very careful with this. That does not mean it points up, necessarily. that does not mean that it moves up. It means that it's what? Clockwise or counterclockwise? Counterclockwise. So what we need to do, because we're in moments, we only do this in moments, go up to RCY, put your pen or your pencil on A. Move your paper counterclockwise at point C. How are you moving it? Are you moving it up or are you moving it down? If I want to push here, will I push down to make it go counterclockwise or up to make it go counterclockwise? I will push up. To make your whole paper go counterclockwise, that needs to push up. Now maybe you guys are like, well, Miss Langeli, that positive thing, it seems to be working out so far. You're right. 90% of the time, positive means point up. And 10% of the time, it's going to be means point down. Because what it really means is, in a moment, positive means make me go counterclockwise. Your moments are done. Get out of your moments. What do we do after we do moments? External forces, not internal. Now we move to external forces. So we do the outside forces of x equals 0, and the outside forces of y equals 0. Go to your paper. Look at the outside stuff only. Outside stuff only. Are there any outside horizontal lines? From the previous page, are there any outside horizontal lines? RAX. That is the only outside horizontal line I see. I'm going to go over here. RAX equals 0. It was the only outside horizontal line. It's the only one. Now there's a bajillion horizontal lines. That's the only external one. Okay, there's a whole bunch of Y lines. Go back to the paper from before. What are all of the up and down lines you guys see here? Give me one up and down line that you see. Just RAY. That's one of them. Notice how small I'm writing. What's another one?
RCY.
RCY. What's another one? They're numbers now.
2.
Central and external forces, is it plus 1,000 or minus 1,000? Minus 1,000 because it was pointing
In. Down.
What's another one? I know there's another.
500.
500, positive or negative?
Negative.
Because it's pointing down.
Down.
What's another one? I know there's one more.
250.
And it's pointing.
Down.
Did we get them all? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Equals 0. Good news. Do we know RAY or do we know RCY? We know RCY. What is RCY? 775, that's right. So I can rewrite this replacing RCY. So replace RCY with positive 775. Why are we replacing with positive 775? Because the arrow is pointing up, yes. And this, like in here, it doesn't mean clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay? Put all those like terms together. Positive 775 minus 1,000 minus 500 minus 250. What do you get before you move it to the other side? You get RAY minus 975. Add 975 over. We get positive 975 pounds. What in the world does that mean? Does it point up or does it point down? Since it's positive, up or down? Up. That's right, so it'll point up. So I gotta go back to my picture. we're gonna make this thing point up. That was RAY, right? Oh, I can also put 0 on this one. Something, I'm gonna show you my final answer. Can you guys see mine right here, my final answer? You can see when I found stuff, I started highlighting it. That helped me know like what I still needed to find. You certainly don't have, but that's how I did it when I was still learning how. So if I were to go through and highlight stuff right now, I would highlight this, I would highlight this, I would highlight this, and this, because those are all things I already know. And I have to put my number on. What was this guy? We just found it, 975? That helped me when I was doing mine to know, like, okay, where your progress was going and where it needed to be. That kind of helped me hone in on what I needed to focus on. Now the hard part. I think this is the harder part. We have to do our internal forces now. I'm hoping to get through one in the next 5 minutes. That's my prayer, at least get through one in the next 5 minutes. Looking at this picture, do not pick E and D. They have way too many diagonals involved. Pick either, or B, don't pick A, D, B, or E right now. Pick either A or C. I don't care. C. I think C was grade 6. Let's go to C. Oh, what was RCY? I didn't write it on here. What was RCY? 7. Thank you. Now it looks much better. Okay, let's pick C. I'm kind of visualizing C. It's got something coming to the left, diagonal, and down below it. Okay, left, diagonal, down below it. So here's C. A little dot there for C. It goes left, it goes diagonal, and then something below it. That's C. So I'm just kind of focusing in on C. I knew this one down here. We figured out it was, I have way too many papers, way too many. What did we figure out? There it is. 775 pointing up. And we know absolutely nothing else. Great! We know nothing else. What do we know about that diagonal? What do we have to do with that diagonal? Split it up. And that was going up to letter E. So I'm going to put an E up here so I know what letter it was going up to. What should I call this guy? What should I call this up and down? What's his name? Not Johnny. C-E-Y. Good, Ashley. What should I call this guy?
Bob.
C-E-X. Bob, sure. I just got that on video that I called my student attorney. Welcome. And then this one went to B over here. But we don't know how it points quite yet. You can guess, but don't do that. Okay, I'm going to highlight. How many blue things, how many horizontal things do I have?
2.
2. Bummer, I don't know either one of them. Sorry. How many vertical things do I have?
2.
2. Score. I know one of them. Let's start there. So I'm going to start with my sum of the forces in the y direction here. And I know I have a positive 775 because it was pointing up. And I know I have CEY, which I do not know. But good news, what is CEY? What's CEY, Caleb? You fell asleep over there, I see you. What's CEY?
775. Negative.
Minus it, negative 775. What does it mean to be a negative 775? How's it going to point?
Down.
Down. Down. Go ahead, it's going to point down. Hey, good news. If you know this points down, how does CEX, it better point to the right so that it joins up with the diagonal. And if it points down, how better the diagonal point? The diagonal better point down and right. That's correct. Okay, so CEY 775. All right, let's at least list our forces in the x direction. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this in 30 seconds. start with you. I'm gonna draw my little triangle here to the side. Weren't we able to calculate that angle as 45 right here? You guys remember that? So I know this is 775. I know this is CE, and I know this is CEX. So I can do that tangent thing. Unless, do you guys know 45, 45, 90s? These are equal. In 45, 45, 90s, these are equal. You two don't know that yet, so you haven't been through geometry. But that's okay, if it's your algebra 1. We did tan -1 of oh no, Miss Linda, stop using -1. Tan of 45 equals opposite. What's opposite of 45? 775. Over adjacent, CEX. Remember what I told you from algebra 1? Those switch. Caleb, you stopped writing. You're making me nervous. And you get 775. You will get 775. Okay. Tomorrow, I want your moments problems. And I would like you to try your best to get this one accomplished. I'm going to give you 2 more trust problems tomorrow that need to be finished. Okay? So tomorrow, at the beginning of the day, give me your moments, and then we're going to finish this one and do 2 others. Woo-hoo!
I'm sorry, man.
Caleb, would you stop that